Welcome to Paladins of Voltron, an unofficial podcast about the Netflix original series Voltron Legendary Defender. I'm your host, Jeremy, and this is my other co-host, Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hello.
And with us this week, we have a special guest, and I'm swapped in the video. I'd like to welcome Darryl, one of my compatriots on transmissions. How you doing, Darryl?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Fantastic.
All right, and before we get into this, I'd like to remind you, if you want to leave feedback on our show, if you want to correct anything we say, you can leave us a comment or email feedback@povpodcast.com. Get us on Twitter, POV_podcast, or contact us on Facebook at POV Podcast. So, Darryl, what is your memories of Voltron as a child?
I definitely watched the original series in '82. It started, and I was very into that. And I was drawn to the toys more than anything. That's been an ongoing thing for me. But yeah, no.
Couldn't tell.
No, I what are you gonna do? But yeah, no, I definitely was a toy kid, and it stuck with me. I even really did have an affinity for Vehicle Voltron. I listened to the last show you did with Charles, and I enjoyed Vehicle Voltron. But I don't recall watching the cartoon that he was in. So it must have been the fact that I think I got the toy as a gift, and I just enjoyed playing with Vehicle Voltron.
It's 15 toys that makes a giant robot.
It's awesome. But I knew that you guys were going to ask me about my Voltron knowledge, so I did want to bring this guy out. This is my Matchbox diecast Voltron from '82.
Is that the one you brought to TFCon so I could touch?
Yeah, I did.
That is a handsome boy right there.
Yeah, there you go. So he's pretty beautiful, pretty heavy. But yeah, he's gorgeous. Little trips to the store action for Voltron.
Yeah, definitely a good reason to check out the video version of this episode this week. So thank you, Darryl, for bringing the awesome there.
You can count on me for that.
Oh yeah,
just some rando here.
All right, we are looking at season 2, episode 8, The Blade of Marmora, and I'm going to be mispronouncing that the entire episode. Just a warning. This is directed by Steve N. Chang-on and written by Mark Bimsdorfer. And again, I apologize for both of those names and mispronouncing them. So the team nears the coordinates that Ulas had given them, and they arrive at the base, and they see that it's near a star that's trapped between two black holes. Allura is suspicious of this being a trap, but Keith yells at everyone and is adamant that they go in. The base hails them and tells them to identify themselves, and then they're told that only 2 of them can enter, and they must come unarmed. There's only a short window to get to the base due to the conditions with the black holes, and after that, the next window will be 2 days from now. So Shiro decides to take Keith with him, which pisses off Lance, but he explains that Red Lion can handle the heat, and they need to leave Black Lion in the castle because of Zarkon's connection to the lion. On the trip over, Shiro asks if Keith is okay and tells him that he needs to control his temper if he's one day going to lead the team. Taken aback, Keith asks if Shiro is serious because he thought that when Shiro had mentioned it at the beginning of the season when they crash landed, that he was just delirious. But Shiro says that he has faith in what Keith can do if he's more disciplined. They land on what looks like an ordinary asteroid. Then a door opens and 2 Galra appear and take them to meet the leader of the Blade of Marmora, Colivan. Colivan says that Ulas tended to disobey orders, and he was a fool for letting them know this location. Shiro defends Ulas' motives and offers Voltron's assistance if they're still welcome. Colivan tells them that they were told to come unarmed And Keith and Shiro both start defending the fact that they brought the Red Lion, but the Galra aren't referring to that. A soldier attacks Keith and pulls out the blade he was carrying. They accuse Keith of stealing it, but he claims to have had it all his life. Shiro can't corroborate the statement, but Keith says that he's telling the truth. Keith is released, and Shiro moves to go, as they obviously aren't welcome. But Keith wants to know more about the knife and how it ended up with him on Earth, and he's not leaving without it. Colovan says that the only way to get the knowledge is to pass the trials of Marmora, and if he does, the secrets of the blade will be revealed. Shiro tries again to get him to leave, but Keith is determined to get the answers. The blade is returned, and Keith is sent on to the trials. The first level is a one-on-one fight with a member of the Blade of Marmora. Keith is losing the fight, and with his opponent's blade against his neck, he's offered the option to surrender and end the pain. He refuses, and the Galra releases him, points to the door, and says he's not meant to go through it. He does, and now faces two opponents. Same thing happens. He loses the fight, refuses to surrender, and is pointed to another door. The trials are repeated through many rooms, where the number of opponents is increased, and Shiro's worried because he knows that Keith will never give in. Back on the castle, the team is worried about how long this is taking. Allura wants to try to see what's going on, but the black holes are causing too much interference. Hunk comes up with an idea that might work, and the team goes to try to work that out. At the Galra base, we see Face pulling some data from a terminal when he's summoned to see Hagar. Returning to the trials, Keith sees how the panels in the floor close after the Galra step off. He charges the Galra, tossing the knife into the panel, locking it open, and then dives through. He makes it into an empty hallway, but he's wounded and tired, and he nearly passes out. He wakes up to see Shiro, telling him how good he did, and Shiro tells him to give the knife over to the Blade of Marmora. But then we also see Shiro watching this, and Colovan says that the suit is creating a virtual mindscape that will show him his biggest hopes and fears. Keith won't hand over the knife because it's the only connection he has to his family, and he needs to find out more. Fake Shiro demands that he gives over the knife again, but Keith refuses, and fake Shiro leaves. Keith runs after him and ends up in his home on Earth. And then he sees his father and hears something attacking outside. His father tells him to ignore it. However, Keith looks out a window to see a Galra ship attacking and sees the red line in the distance. Keith's father tells him that his mother will be there soon and she'll tell him everything he needs to know. But he's left with a decision. Stay and find out who he is, or leave and defend against the Galra. He chooses to leave, and as he does, Red Lion wakes up and the castle detects his stress level. As he does, the Red Lion wakes up and the castle detects it. But they don't have another window for about 5 minutes. Back with the bad Galra, Hagar interrogates Thace, and he's seemingly successful at lying to her. And then back to the Blade of Marmora, the Red Lion is attacking the base, trying to get to Keith. Shiro escapes the blade and gets to Keith, and they try to leave, but Colovan demands the blade. Keith failed to awaken it, so it must stay. One of the Galra move to attack Keith to take it by force, and Shiro jumps in front of him and defends with his arm. However, Keith stops them and offers the knife. As he does, he says that if giving up the knife is what it takes for them to work together, then he doesn't need it. That's all it takes for the blade to start glowing. The room fills with light as the blade has awoken and turns into a large sword. Colovan said the only way that's possible is if he has Galra blood. As the castle's about to jump in, Shiro and Keith contact them and say that they're coming back and they're bringing a guest. They bring in Kalavar, and he says that he's heard from their spy that Zarkon is aware of their infiltration and the timetable has been moved up. They need to attack now. That is episode 6. So, another action-packed episode. I really like a lot of the backstory we're getting with Keith. And it's pretty clear where they're going, that he has Galra blood. His father's obviously human. His mother I'm guessing is not. Any things you want to bring up here at the beginning?
Well, I agree. Another action-packed, good episode. Trying to think here real quick. Yeah, I mean, just the whole knowledge or death, that whole thing. It's like something I want to say in just regular life now. Like, oh, well, yeah, you can do this thing, but it's only going to end in one of two ways, knowledge or death. So, be careful how you cook that thing of baked beans or something like that. When the Red Lion senses Keith is in trouble and just starts annihilating the base, another example of just how powerful these lions are. Like it could have killed Keith.
Yeah, well, and they're not just robots; they have some level of sentience to them.
Right. The castle sitting there just waiting to try to get in there and try to help, and then just at the last second, the Red Line shoots back out, and that's when they bring Corvan to come meet Allura, and he genuflects in front of her, like showing that Zarkon isn't my ruler. I recognize you as the princess, and that I want to help you and stuff. But yeah, just on general thoughts there, really good episode. So go ahead, Darryl. What would you like to say?
There was a few things that I really enjoyed about this episode. One at the start, it's been a running thing for the entire series, but the way that Pidge gets so excited about everything, science and technology, I absolutely love it. Yeah. Everything could be falling apart, around them, but something science or technology kind of deal, and she just is in love with it. The humor in the episode, there's not a whole heck of a lot of it, but at the beginning, the Paladins don't seem to get they don't understand the units of time that are used, and that's another humorous part. One of the really good things, and that's been building, was a really great discussion between Shiro and Keith about the leadership of Voltron, on the way to the Marmora base, and that was a really, really nice moment there. The other part that kind of questioned me is that the Marmora seemed to be able to detect or sense that Keith had the blade.
Right.
Because obviously he hadn't shown it yet, but they knew he had it. So that was
I got the feeling that they could detect, or they could have some kind of psychic connection to the blades.
Yeah, which is probably why, later on in the episode, Keith was able to enter that vision so vividly.
Oh yeah, there you
go. I think that Keith earned an incredible amount of respect from the Marmora by sticking with and going through the trials the way that he did.
As long as he did.
Yeah. I with your review, you said that he kept going from room to room. I think he stayed in the same room. He
kept going through the door.
He never went through the door.
Oh,
well, he did.
You know what?
He just I don't think he went through that door, because he finally went to through the hole that they came up in. Right? I
thought it was just a series of rooms that looked the same.
Yeah, I think it was the same room, and they handily beat him, and they would retreat back to their starting point or leave, and they would and more of them would come. That's what I took.
I could see it either way.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I don't think until the last time, I don't think he actually walks. We see him walk through a door. That's a really good point.
Yeah. This is a good point, a good place for people to send us feedback. Who's right?
Email.
the Galra, they're starting to. They've been detecting it for a little while, but they're really starting to push to see who their traitor is. They know there's a traitor. They don't know who it is, but they're really starting to throw a lot of muscle and work behind figuring out who it is. They don't know. We do. As an audience, we know who it is. But they don't yet. And at the right near the end, you get a little worried for Commander Thace that he might have been found out, but he's saved by the fact that they just want him to look, keep his eyes open. Basically, they inform him, we know there's a traitor, we know there's a spy. You're a trusted commander, keep your eyes peeled. And I think that was a very close break for him.
Yeah.
I touched on it earlier with Keith about the vision he had with the blade. That was very important for Keith as a character building point. Finds out a very important part of his lesson or his of his past, and that was huge for him. And I think just the last bit is just like the connection between Keith and the Red Lion is extremely strong. That the Red Lion can sense the trouble that Keith might be in, and as Jason said, just lay waste to that base and until it feels that he's doing much better. So I really enjoyed this episode. It was very much a Keith character build, but yeah, you really didn't get the whole story, but you got enough to satiate the appetite of what's a little bit of what's going on with Keith.
Sure.
Do you think that he's met his mother in the past, or do you think she's like never been in his life?
That's a good question. I think he does know who his mother is. I think it's just something's been done to him, or there's some kind of tragic memory block that's happened that he can't remember.
I think his mother has Galra blood. I mean, I don't know if would be 100% Galra herself, but I think she is from Galra stock.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think, I wonder if maybe his mother wasn't there after, he got to the age where he could actually remember stuff like that. It's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that because the father keeps saying in the vision, your mother will be here shortly. She can explain. Now, was that because that's how the vision was going, or is it because Keith doesn't really remember his mother, so therefore it's hard for him to make that kind of connection in a memory like that?
I don't think it was a memory. I think it was more of a vision.
Vision. Yeah, sorry.
But I think it was leading towards the idea that his mother was on this ship that was absolutely leveling the outside the window.
Okay.
And she's coming. Just wait. But if you wait, you may die.
Gotcha. And you can't help anyone if you wait, because then okay.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a really deep.
And if you die in the Matrix, you die in the real world.
You can't. Yeah, your body can't survive without the mind.
And in the psychic plane. So here's an interesting, because we've been talking about how Keith has such a strong bond with the Red Lion, and they keep hinting at the idea that Shiro might not be around for forever, and therefore Keith would have to lead the team. So what happens if Keith has to be in the Black Lion? Is the Red Lion going to be okay with that? It seems like there could be issues there.
I think the lions would respect the other lions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it would just be interesting to see if they turn that into like a storyline too, where like the Red Lion.
The bigger thing is, who will the Red Lion accept?
It's true.
Obviously, Quran.
Right. Like we mentioned a couple episodes ago, Allura has ridden in the Red Lion now.
Right.
So
Lance is the only one that seems like he's got the temper that would match the attitude of the Red Lion. But
as he hasn't put it yet, but as he says later in the season, him and Blue are perfectly happy together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then at the end, Keith, the sword kind of he activates the sword, I guess is what they're saying, and it's much how Shiro came to the realization that it's about trust with the Black Lion. Keith came to the realization that okay, the knife is important to me. It's not as important as not defeating Zarkon or not helping my team. And then when he goes to give up the knife, then he has this big moment, and then the knife actually reveals itself to him. And of course, this is something that we'll see, for someone who hasn't seen the rest of the season, they're probably wondering how, given what Allura has said about the Galra, kind of got to wonder how she's going to receive Keith.
I mean, they've been hinting at this, especially a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
You know, her views on the Galra are clear. She's a space racist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to point out one more thing about the Keith's vision. During the vision, when he's looking out the window, seeing the ship just leveling the planet there, you see him spot the Red Lion on a mountaintop. Now, I don't think that that's him connecting with the Red Lion, his lion out in the real world. I think that's actually him seeing the Red Lion in the past as part of this Galra invasion.
Oh, wow.
That's my opinion of the vision.
You're thinking that the vision is actually showing something that happened in the past.
Yeah, that this event may be part of the traumatic block that he's got, and the Red Lion was part of it, because obviously Black was Zarkon's, and Red looks like it's another Galra soldier of some kind, was part of the invasion that destroyed his home world.
Well, I mean, the inside of the home was exactly like what the inside was when in episode 1 of season 1.
Oh yeah.
The maps on the wall and everything, it was the same.
I would like to point out, wasn't it the Red Lion that was on a Galra ship in the first episode that they had to retrieve? Because the Black Lion was still in the castle.
The Red Lion was the one that was on the ship.
Yeah, so Darryl, you got a theory going here, my friend. You got something, world's greatest detective going.
Not just a pretty face.
Now you just need the Don,
which you would know if you were watching the video.
Video plugs, woo! Yeah, I like this. Because some stuff we're kind of talking around, but we've seen the end of the season. Obviously, this is something that could really turn into a really cool plot point that they have. 4 seasons.
So if you think about it, if Voltron was actually, under Galra control at one point, you can see why Zarkon would want it back.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a very powerful, tool for, taking over the galaxy, whatever he's got planned. But why or how did it get, rescued, I guess? Because obviously, Red was still under their control, but the others weren't. So what happened? Will they tell that story? That would be an interesting story. Obviously something happened, and I'd like to know what it was, because whether or not my theory or my idea of what was going on in that vision is true, there was something obviously that happened.
Sure. Because,
Zarkon had Black and Red was under their control, because they had possession of it. So,
what if Keith is descended from the original Red Lion pilot?
It's possible. That's cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
So he could be seeing a vision of something that happened.
Yeah.
To that pilot.
Yeah, which it could be his mother.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could get, because the Black Lion revealed to Shiro his past. We could get each line revealing to each paladin, and then we get more building of the lore of what happened like you were getting to, Darryl, about what happened when the Voltron was split and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot there to mine.
I think we just wrote season 3. I think.
Yeah.
I think we did.
I mean, they have 10,000 years to play with. There's a lot of stories to tell. I think they're going to need about 8 or 9 seasons.
At least.
Yeah, maybe 10, 11.
Yeah.
So, dang, getting deep into theories here. I like it. I like it.
All right. Any other comments or wild theories?
I think that they should make a much better diecast toy because the one that's coming out is terrible. That's my theory. Oh no, I'm done though.
Yeah.
Well, no, serious question though. What do you think makes it terrible? Is it because it's downscaled, or you don't like those figures as they are now?
No, the shape of them with diecast, you should be able to get much closer to the design, like the TV show design. The shoulders kill it for me. I can't deal with the shoulders. They're too low on the body.
Okay.
So the head's way up here, the shoulders are way down here, and he's got.
I don't think that could be
arms.
Just marketing person not knowing how to transform it right.
Those shoulders don't move though, I think.
I don't know. I doubt it. I think it's because the plastic one is not the greatest, but it's still better than the diecast. And I had a lot of hope for the diecast one.
Yeah.
But like I said, I want to wait and see some video reviews.
Yeah. But no, I'm always a toy guy, so I'm gonna keep my eyes open for something because if this is gonna be around for a couple of years, this isn't the first one they're gonna do or the last.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whatever they decide if they do a second round of this kind of stuff, there's gonna be some good stuff coming out. Some good Voltrons. So yeah, that's another plus of the fact that we're looking at 6 seasons. That now that Darryl did the math for me on how many seasons are.
Yeah, so I mean, as long as Playmates can keep up with the toys.
Well, I mean, like we've ever heard of a toy company not keeping shelf stocked recently. That doesn't happen. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Life of toy collectors.
Yep. All right. Well, if no one else has anything else, Darryl, how can people contact you on the internet?
Well, I am on Twitter quite a bit, and my Twitter handle is Cybertron Beast. And I'm mostly just going to talk Transformers at you, but I'll talk them basically anything. And you can find me there. Maple syrup, all things Canadian. Yeah. You can also I have a YouTube channel that I haven't done anything with 2 years, but you can take a look at the old YouTube videos, the old YouTube reviews I did. There's 200 videos on there. Wow. There should be something in there you've probably got or wanted. So yeah, I used to do that. And I do this podcast with Jeremy and a couple randos called Transmissions. And it's fun. I enjoy it. They keep me feeling young. So, especially with Charles, who's 60.
And it's now twice weekly.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
Twice weekly. Yep.
All right,
guys.
Cool. Well, I guess that will be it. Again, you can find Jason on Twitter, Jason S. Kirk. You can find me, yakko.org. That's YKK0DOT.org. And just leave us feedback at povpodcast.com or POV_podcast on Twitter or Facebook, POV Podcast. And thanks again, Darryl, for coming on.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
And
I want to mention this is like my daughter's, who's 7. This is like her favorite cartoon. So
that's awesome.
The fact that we power through these episodes every time they come out is a real downer for her. So we got to watch them again.
You should just force her to watch one a week, but then you'll never finish.
It would never go over well.
No.
Kids these days have no concept of the Saturday morning cartoons anymore, and that's sad.
No.
Yeah. Also, get off Jeremy's lawn.
All right. Well, I guess that is it. See you guys next time. Bye.
Later. Bye.
Later.